Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to AJ's Thoughts on Movies. Today's video is for all you guys and girls looking for date night movie ideas. That's right, we're going to be ranking my top 10 romantic comedies. Alright, so these are films that I think that both men and women can enjoy, and these aren't the best romantic comedies out there, but these are the ones that I watch, I enjoy, and I think you will too. Comment down below if you guys have seen these movies and if you agree or disagree, but let's get into it. Alright, so kicking things off at number 10, we have Isn't It Romantic? Now, this movie is the most recent on my list. It came out in 2019, and it stars Rebel Wilson, Adam Devine, Liam Hemsworth, and Priyanka Chopra. So this movie is about a girl named Natalie who's unhappy with the way her life's going. She's not happy with her career, with her love life, and then she gets into an accident and wakes up in a fantasy world based off of the cliches of romantic comedies, sometimes musicals. I think this movie is bound to be funny with Rebel Wilson as the lead star, and then we have really funny scenes with Liam Hemsworth, and I think the chemistry between all these characters are actually really good. Adam Devine and Rebel Wilson have worked together in Pitch Perfect, and so it's really nice to see them back together. I really like that this movie makes fun of itself. Like, it knows that it's being cliche, but it gets away with it with how extreme that it takes those measures. This movie is really predictable, but it knows that it's being predictable, it knows that it's being cliche, and somehow gets away with it. This is a good movie with a good message at its heart, and it knows when to be serious and when to just let loose, and I think it's a really good laugh. At number 9, we have Definitely Maybe, starring Ryan Reynolds, Elizabeth Banks, Isla Fisher, and Rachel Weisz. This is like the story of How I Met Your Mother, but in a movie.
I'll tell you the story, and I'm not telling you who your mom is.
Fine.
You're just gonna have to figure it out for yourself.
Good.
And I'm changing all the names and some of the facts.
I like it. It's like a love story mystery.
While this movie isn't as laugh out loud as some of the others on this list, it does have a lot of heart and the acting is really believable. The relationship between Will and Maya is just really adorable, and Maya is actually pretty funny herself as she's ragging on her dad and calling him names. The chemistry between Will and all of his past girlfriends is so good that to a point, you almost want all of them to work out. But I like this movie because, as Maya puts it, it's a love story mystery, and we the audience get to figure it out and see if we're right by the end of the movie. The ending is really good too, but I won't spoil it. Go check it out yourself. Up next, at number 8, we have 10 Things I Hate About You. If you're looking for a high school romance movie to watch, this may be one of the best. It stars big names like Heath Ledger and Julia Stiles and Joseph Gordon-Levitt. It's the story about a young boy named Cameron moving to a new school, and there he experiences love at first sight with a girl named Bianca. Bianca has a really controlling father and has a rule that she's not allowed to date until her sister does. Unfortunately, her sister has RBF 24/7, so Cameron chooses Patrick, played by Heath Ledger, to take her out. He's the bad boy that everybody's afraid of, and she's the wench that nobody wants to talk to. What could go wrong? I think some of the funniest moments in this film is actually between Kat and Bianca's dad. Also, a little side note, he's actually played by the same guy who does Paolo in Princess Diaries. I think the pace in this movie is actually pretty good towards the beginning of the film, but as we go on it starts to slow down and then we have some problems. Most stories have conflict and resolution, and this movie has conflict, resolution, conflict, resolution, conflict, revolution. So as we go on, there's just conflict after conflict, and I don't think that the ending wrapped up very well. But we also get to listen to Heath Ledger singing, so it kind of gets a pass.
I love you, baby, and if it's quite alright, I need you, baby, to warm the lonely night.
I do like the relationship between Kat and Patrick. I think it's very believable in that they break each other's walls down and start to see each other for who they are rather than how the school sees them. And the relationship between Cameron and Bianca is kind of rocky in the beginning because she's using him just to date another guy, but then she realizes that Cameron's actually a good guy. She realizes the model she's going out with is scum. This movie has that 90s humor, it's very funny, it's got really believable relationships, and it's a good one to check out if you haven't seen it. Alright, moving on. At number 7, we have Mr. and Mrs. Smith. So this movie is probably the most different out of all of these movies, in that it is a romantic comedy, but it's also a romantic action adventure comedy spy thriller. So in that way, I think that there really is something for both sides of the relationship. This movie is all about John and Jane Smith. They're a couple that's been married for some time, and now they're starting to struggle in their relationship a little bit. Oh, and they're both spies/assassins for separate organizations. The two of them find out, and we get a good movie out of it. I like this movie because it isn't like the others where it's about finding each other, but it's about if they can stay together and if they last. The chemistry between these two actors is really good, which makes sense considering they get married in real life. I would definitely recommend this film if you haven't seen it. It's very funny, it's action-packed, and it's got something for both sides. At number 6, we have Meet the Parents. Meet the Parents is a very classic comedy movie starring Ben Stiller, Robert De Niro, Blythe Daniels, and Terry Polo, and Owen Wilson. This movie is about a guy named Greg who's fallen in love with a teacher named Pam. In order to marry her, though, he has to get permission from her father. Makes sense, right? In order to do that, he has to survive a trip to her parents' house. Literally survive. This movie is hilarious. From Greg's name, to the circle of trust, to Jinx the cat, to Owen Wilson, to that volleyball scene. There is no shortage of jokes in this movie to make you laugh. I like the relationship between Greg and Pam. They're just two ordinary people with two ordinary jobs that are trying to get married. And it's not the relationship that they need to work on, but it's becoming part of the family that Greg needs to work on. There's laughs, there's character growth, and neither you or Greg really know what you're getting into until you watch the movie. And that's part of the fun of it. Okay, so we made it to my top 5. Now I just want to stress again that just because this is my top 5 doesn't mean it's the top 5 best romantic comedies. These are just movies that I enjoy and I think you will too. So at number 5 we have What Happens in Vegas. When two people are having the worst weeks of their lives, they decide to cheer themselves up by going to Vegas. These two people, Jack and Joy, meet, they get drunk, they party, they gamble, and they get married. They quickly agree to get an annulment. When one of them happens to win $3 million, a judge gets to decide who gets to keep the money by who is faithful in their marriage. The rest of the movie is full of pranks and hijinks and different attempts to get the other one to be unfaithful in their marriage. When you watch the trailer for this movie, you know that it's going to be really fun to watch, and it's got that comedy factor that all romantic comedies have. But it really does have a lot of heart to it as well. The relationship between Jack and Joy starts out really forced and you don't want it to work out, and you start picturing it like Civil War and you pick a side, Jack or Joy. But Ashton Kutcher and Cameron Diaz do a really good job at showing the dynamic in this relationship and showing the chemistry and how they really do care about each other. I like the idea of who can screw up first. It's really funny and I enjoy watching this movie. At number 4 we have The Holiday. Another movie starring Cameron Diaz as well as Kate Winslet and Jude Law. Oh, and Jack Black's in this movie too. That's right, Jack Black is in a romantic comedy. This is a Christmas movie, so I really don't watch it all that often, but I really think it's well made and the actors do a really good job. It's about two women who meet online and end up switching lives. So one goes to England and one goes to Los Angeles. Apparently all they needed to do to find love was to travel 6,000 miles. This movie has some of the best relationship building on this list. I really think that Cameron Diaz and Jude Law do a good job at being genuine and believable. They have some really heartfelt one-on-ones that actually feel like real dates. But I also really like the other relationship as well, because it just starts out as a friendship. For real, there are no ulterior motives at all. But then they start looking at each other through a different light. This movie has some good laughs where Jack Black is doing the kind of humor that only he can bring. And we also get some cool side quest stuff between an old man named Arthur and Kate Winslet's character that's just really adorable and it warms your heart, especially on Christmas. If you're looking for a Christmas movie for date night, I think that The Holiday is a good choice. Okay, and at number 3 we have Crazy Stupid Love. What can I say? It's Steve Carell, Ryan Gosling, and Emma Stone all in the same movie. You should already be sold. This movie also has that How I Met Your Mother feel, as it's all about a recently divorced man named Cal, who meets a guy in a bar and teaches him how to be a man again. However, throughout the film, he realizes that he would rather fight for his soulmate. Jacob, played by Ryan Gosling, also finds a love interest in Emma Stone and starts to question if maybe he was wrong the whole time. This movie gets my top 3 simply because of the relationship between Cal and Jacob. I really like all the tips and tricks that Cal is given, and there's one quote that I still use to this day.
Cal, be better than the Gap. Be better than the Gap.
The acting in this movie is actually so good that dating coaches and counselors will use this movie to show their clients how to be more confident and how to approach people in the right way. I feel like this movie does a really good job at doing a complete 180 with these characters, and it shows how they can better themselves without changing who they are. At number 2 we have Princess Bride. Wav. Whoa, love. It's a romantic fantasy action comedy that you can quote with your significant other or you can quote with your friends all day long. This is the story of Wesley and Princess Buttercup and how they overcome everything in their path with the power of true love. Even death.
Well, it just so happens that your friend here is only mostly dead.
Sorry, mostly death. It's a really well-made tale that keeps you guessing. You don't know what's going to happen next. You really do love all of the characters in this movie, and you want them all to have that happy ending. If you haven't watched this movie, go watch it right now. Like, right now. Go. And in the number 1 spot, we have Hitch. I don't think this should surprise anyone. This is the classic romantic comedy that everybody knows. Hitch is the movie that taught us body signals, what to say, where to go, what the perfect date looks like, and threw it out the window and said, just be yourself. I love this movie. It stars Will Smith as Alex Hitchens and Kevin James as Albert Brenneman. And these two are just the perfect comedy duo. Albert has hired Hitch to try and get him the perfect opportunity to fall in love with Allegra. We get some really awesome scenes with these two together. Stuff like Kevin James dancing and the whole 90-10 rule. We also get a relationship start between Alex Hitchens and a reporter that he meets named Sarah Miles, played by Eva Mendes. Normally Hitch is smooth with the ladies, but this time it's not going as he planned at all, and we the audience love every minute of it. I've totally had dates like these, and I bet a lot of people have too. It has a great message at its heart that there is no formula to love, that there are no rules, that you just need to be yourself and go after the person that you love. Alright guys, so that's my list. What did you think about it? What movies are on your list? Comment down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. See ya.